This Super Bowl 58 Underdog Fantasy Picks special edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by KUTT. KUTT is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today. And don't forget to enter our Super Bowl 58 props contest. Pick 58 Super Bowl props for a chance to win $1,000. Enter today for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/SB58 or in the SGPN app.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Today, we find ourselves prepping for the biggest game in my life in the last couple of years.
Daytona 500? Yes, let's go.
God, wait. Cody, not there yet. Not there yet.
That's next week. Okay. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Yeah, unfortunately, our Super Bowl is still a week away. However, there is another Super Bowl going on for a sport that a lot of people follow. And that, of course, is the Super Bowl for the NFL. Chiefs, Niners, squaring up in Las Vegas. Whoever wins, Vegas fans are not going to be too thrilled about it anyways, because if Kansas City wins the Super Bowl in Las Vegas territory, that's probably not good for Vegas. And then, you know, if the hated former Bay Area Cousins win the first Super Bowl in the Vegas territory, what can you do? But yeah, we are talking Super Bowl props, Super Bowl underdog picks rather this day. And we're going to give you some of our favorite ones because we're still kind of waiting for Underdog to give us the Daytona 500 picks, but we'll get there. We'll get there, Cody.
Yeah, they'll have them up. They were on it with the Clash last week. We had those going into the weekend. And I would have, maybe even next week we'll have all three series on there. They did that last year with Trucks Xfinity as well. We'll definitely have some underdog talk next week for the Daytona 500. We're hoping to be able to cross sport them for this episode, but not up yet. But that's all right. They're cooking up those good lines, giving you the best options. So we'll give them a break there. But it's the Super Bowl, man. How do we go without talking about the Super Bowl? Your team, the San Francisco 49ers, is in it, of course. We both are huge football guys. We love football just as much as we love racing. And so if we get a free chance to talk about it, why not? Of course, we gave out our favorite props, our favorite picks yesterday. We gave out our game picks at the end as well, and which way we're going when it comes to betting. Cross those over with some Daytona 500 props, which was pretty fun to have the crossover opportunity there. So excited to get into the underdog picks this week for Super Bowl.
Yeah, the underdog or the parlays, right? Our Super Bowl parlays between the Daytona 500 and the Super Bowl. That was a lot of fun. And then, of course, again, like go back and listen because I started out in sort of a direction, and then all of a sudden, like as I was picking, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make these a little fun. So go find out how I made them fun in that episode. That's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good, huge numbered parlays over in that one too.
We got some D-Gens only action, which is always a fun time.
Yeah, a $5 bet can buy you steak for the year. So
Absolutely.
You're good. I love that. All right, again, this is the NASCAR. We get it, and if you don't, really enjoy the Super Bowl, that's fine.
Who doesn't enjoy? Even if you're not a big football fan, everybody enjoys the Super Bowl. Come on.
And if nothing else, listen, this will be if you don't really watch football. Sorry, first and foremost. Second of all, if you do go to a Super Bowl party, at least you can we'll give you something to talk about. You'd be like, oh yeah, Brock Purdy. I remember Cody and Rod talking about Brock Purdy.
See, take notes from this. You sign up over at Underdog with the race SGPN promo code. You can show all your friends, be like, oh yeah, look at this really cool, 6-legger I got over here on Underdog. We're gonna smash these, and then you can just regurgitate our lines for why you love certain players to hit certain things. It's we're here for you guys.
Yes, we are. Speaking of loving certain things, we do have one piece of news to bring you, and it involves one of the drivers we love to watch. Found himself a new home in the Truck Series, Cody, who is now going to be a full-time truck driver.
Yeah, I mean it wouldn't be a true NASCAR episode without touching on some NASCAR news. And as we were talking about before the show, kind of been a slow week. There's been some sponsorship announcements and stuff, but nothing crazy big. But one big piece of news today, and kind of interesting on the timing, like why it took this long to get this deal in place or what the deal was, nobody really knows. But Spire Motorsports announced today they will field another truck. It's going to be a full-time truck. It's going to be the number 71, and it's going to be Rajah Caruth, which is a big signing. 10 races of this truck is going to be sponsored by HendrickCars.com. Which of course Rick Hendrick's, online car buying company or whatever. And that's a huge deal. Rajah's a guy that is clearly in the eye. He's caught Rick Hendrick's eye, which if you can do that, that's a pretty big accomplishment in and of itself. He, of course, ran full-time last season with GMS. GMS disbanded after the year, sold off their assets and stuff. And so Rajah had been kind of just hanging out without a ride. So we don't know how long they've been working on this deal. Been a lot of rumors he's going to run some Xfinity in the 17 car for Hendrick as well, so I wouldn't be shocked to see that announced at a later point. I've seen some stuff that maybe the Junior Motorsports 88 car will be up to like 15 races this year, so maybe he gets in that a few times. I think they are obviously getting some sponsorship deals and whatnot done. If they're going to field it that many times, it's directly linked to sponsorship basically. So interesting. But so Spire will have 3 cars now. They'll have Chase Purdy in the 77 car, of course, full-time. Rajah now in the 71 full-time. The other truck will be the 7 truck. That'll be the rotator / all-star truck. It's assumed Kyle Busch is going to run 5 races. That's what he had mentioned when he sold KBM to Spire, of course, that he would still be back to run his 5 races. So you would think that last year in the Spire truck, we saw, was it William Byron? Kyle Larson got in there for a race. I believe Elliott was scheduled to run a race, but didn't because of the injury thing, obviously. And Bowman might have all 4 been scheduled at one point, but Elliott and Bowman, I think, missed out because of their injuries. But so interesting, that it took this long. It's kind of, we're cutting it close, real close to the season here, but good to see Rajah land on his feet with a good opportunity here. I think that this is a solid opportunity for him. He's a guy we saw last year, a lot of potential in, right? And there was a lot of speed, a lot of good runs. Didn't always finish. I think that's been the biggest thing so far is, he makes the mistakes or probably, squeezes it in there a little too hard and when he shouldn't, maybe be more patient. So I think we'll see that. Our buddy Stephen Williams in the chat, probably a dumb question. Who is Wendell Scott? So Rajah Caruth gets a lot of sponsorship from the Wendell Scott Foundation. Wendell Scott, of course, the first African-American NASCAR driver win a race, I believe. At least in the modern era, there might have been some back in like the way early days, but at least in the more, recent area. But yeah, there's a Wendell Scott Foundation is out there. They're a big sponsor of his. I believe they'll be on this truck. I don't think that's been officially announced, but they'll likely be with him as well. So, this is a good opportunity for Raja. Again, a lot of talent, still pretty raw, I think. But and you got to wonder too, if Mr. H has his eye on him, do they field a full-time Xfinity car in the next couple of seasons for him? If he gets to Cup eventually, do they stick him on a Spire team? This Spire could be the track to get to the Cup Series. Is he start with Spire and waiting for Kyle Larson to decide to hang it up early because he wants to dirt race? Is Alex Bowman out the door after a couple of years? I mean, the Hendrick lineup is pretty secure for the next few years, I think, but potentially down the road could be a deal. So good to see for Raja. I think he'll be a guy that hopefully early in the season they'll kind of sleep on him a little bit. Might be a really good top 5 guy that we could kind of target or to win some groups or something.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to sleep on him. Obviously, they're just going to look at what was going on. He's a talented driver, but like you said, the finishes weren't necessarily there. So exciting news for him, and really the future of Hendrick. We'll see how this all pans out as we go along. So
Steven, real quick, I know we got to get to our break, but Raja attended his first NASCAR race the year he retired from the Marine Corps. He is young. He actually got into racing. Cool story, real quick, because of the movie Cars, Rod. So the movie Cars is what got him excited about racing, and look where he is today, driving with Mr. H's company on the side. So there you go.
Ka-chinga. All right, we'll be back, and we're going to give you some of our Super Bowl picks, but let me tell you first about DraftKings. Looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58? DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. We are still looking at Super Bowl lines because I tell you, that's the big elephant in the room, so we might as well go with those lines as well. If you want to know what to bet on and what's out there, San Francisco still 2-point favorites over the Chiefs at -102 and the Chiefs at +2 at -118. You want the over-under on this one? 47.5 is what it's set at. And, of course, the Niners money line at -122, the Chiefs at +102. Make sure you're heading down to DraftKings to get in on this action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code SGP. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. We about to give you a ton of Underdog Fantasy plays, and you got to make sure to listen to all of them because Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football, NASCAR, F1, doesn't matter. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. You can win 100x with some spicy plays. We're full of spicy plays, so hang tight for all of those. Watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you sign up with the promo code RACESGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code RACESGPN. Well, Cody, as I promised, we are going to give you the Underdog plays that we have, the Underdog picks that we like for the Super Bowl. Again, we wish we could give you some NASCAR, but you know what? That's fine. They did that so we could have an entire Underdog episode next week for the 500, right?
Bingo. That's exactly the plan. We will definitely have Underdog picks next week. Oh, next week, so loaded with NASCAR. It's going to be so beautiful. We'll have all 3 series to pick. If they're offering anything when it comes to the duels, we'll have that. Might even have an opportunity to actually build some Millie Maker lineups after the duel since the lineup will be set early. Oh, baby, it's going to be beautiful. Nick Fortune in the chat as well says, let's fucking go. let's fucking go, Rod. Should we get into our Super Bowl underdog picks?
Please do. Let's get into them.
All right. First up for me, since you stole the one that I was going to use, I had to pivot immediately. Rod beat me to the dock this time. I get in there. I had one circle that I loved. Of course, Rod already had it, so had to make a pivot, but that's okay. Talked about this guy yesterday. Really big on Patrick Mahomes to get higher than 26.5 rushing yards. Look, dude's a baller. He's going to scramble, and he's going to make plays happen. That's what he does. He's good at it. He's got 3 Super Bowls under his belt now, 29 yards against the 49ers. What I forgot to mention yesterday, that was after he had, remember when he had like those ridiculous kneels too at the end of that game and lost like 20 yards rushing, still ended up with 29. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again and burn us here, but did still get the higher than this number anyways. So he had 29 in that one, 33 rushing yards against the Buccaneers in that Super Bowl, and then 44 yards last year. Kind of the progression as he's lost more offensive weapons, no Tyreek Hill. Things are getting a little rougher. He's running some more, right? So I think that's really good. You go back to the first week of the playoffs in the wild card game against the Dolphins. He had 41 that day, and he hit this number in 8 regular season games. He doesn't mind running, and then you put him in the biggest spot under the biggest lights. We've all seen it, right? He drops back. Oh, he's getting sacked. Holy shit, how'd he get out of that? He runs 45 yards left to right in the backfield and then still runs another 10 yards forward and gets the yards for you. Patrick Mahomes is going to get the yards. And I think whether they win or lose this game, maybe even more so if they lose the game, he's going to get this yards because he's going to be giving it his all. We know we're going to get that from Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes higher than 26.5 rushing yards is my first underdog play on the board here.
And a guy like Mahomes can get this on one scramble. I mean, it's not, It wouldn't be unheard of for him to be able to just bust one loose and really, and he's going to be running for his life. I mean, you've got Bosa, you've got Chase, you've got Greenlaw, you've got all of these fantastic weapons on defense for San Francisco, and they're going to be coming for him because they know that if you take Mahomes out of his rhythm, if you take Mahomes out of his game, that is the way that you stop this offense. Pacheco's going to do good things for Pacheco's sake, but this whole offense is predicated on Mahomes being able to use his weapons. And if you don't give him time to use his weapons, and if you chase him out of the pocket, I mean, yeah, he's probably going to get his scrambling yards, but you're not going to win the game if you get him out of his rhythm and out of the pocket. So I'll take you on this one because, again, like I said, this could happen in one rush. So I like
and
that.
Like Steven says, if San Francisco D gives Kelsey and Rice the attention they deserve, because you're going to have to stop those guys. I mean, Kelsey will absolutely destroy you if you let him. You might have to double team him, and that's going to open that up for Mahomes, give him that opportunity to scramble. So, that's one of my favorite things on the board this week, and love the low number that Underdog is giving you.
Me too. And so Nick Fortune also says he'll go with Brock freaking Purdy over rushing yards 12.5. Well, let's tell you what. Let's do this. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy as well, and this is the one that Cody really wanted. This is the one.
Yes.
But Cody, this one. So. If Brock goes with more than 12.5 rushing yards, he's probably going to do it on a few scrambles, right? Well, Underdog's giving us 3 rushing attempts for Brock Purdy. I'm going to take the higher than on this one for sure. Listen, over the last couple of games, he has done exactly that. 5 rushing attempts against the Lions, 6 rushing attempts against the Packers. He didn't do it in any of the last 2 regular season games. But he's done it a couple more times since then. He did it 3 times against Seattle, 4 times against Tampa, 6 against Cincinnati, 5 against Minnesota, and 4 against the Giants. So he's not a guy that's going to pull the ball and take it down like any of these other Russian quarterbacks do. But he's a guy who also knows how to sort of escape the pocket when need be. And Chris Jones is a big, big guy. He's going to be barreling down on Chase Purdy. So I think Purdy's going to need to step away a couple of times. And like I said, he's not afraid to pull it down. 5 for 48 against the Lions. That's a hell of a total, right? And that's because he was able to sort of maneuver his way through the pocket. And that's sort of an underrated part of his game, is the ability to kind of maneuver around the pocket and find the open spot. And if sometimes that means pulling it down, that means pulling it down. What have quarterbacks done rushing wise against the Chiefs over the last few weeks? Well, Lamar did it 8 times against them. No, but that's Lamar. Josh Allen did it 12 against them. Okay, but that's Josh Allen. Tua actually did it 3 times. Tua's not a scrambler. Tua did it Easton Stick, 13 carries for 77 yards. Jake Browning, 7 carries for 32 yards. Aiden O'Connell, 4 carries for -4 yards, but still 4 carries for Aiden O'Connell.
That's the good thing, is it doesn't matter if it's minus yards.
Exactly. It just means rushing attempts. So again, I think this is a number that Brock Purdy can get to, and I'm fully confident taking Brock Purdy more than 3 rushing attempts for
and the part you didn't even cover, Rod. If the 49ers win this game, there's 3 potential kneel downs at the end of this game. If he has 1 scramble during the game and the 49ers win and they end the game with 3 kneel downs, then you hit it, because they count as rushing attempts, as we know. So
it's a beautiful,
it's a little way to backdoor it if you need to. Yeah. So I really wanted this one. I love this play. 3 is just, it's such a low number. They're going to get pressure on him. The Chiefs defense is really tough. They're going to get after him. They're going to put pressure on him. Again, talk about the plethora of weapons to guard. They're going to be busy with Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle, CMC, Juszczyk. They're going to be busy with all these guys. It's going to give Purdy some opportunities to run. So I fully back you on that one.
Indeed. Steve, I see you in the chat. Hang tight on that. I've got something to say about that one as well. But first, I want to tell you and invite you to play our Super Bowl 58 props contest. $1,000, winner takes all. It's free to enter. I know it's a steep price to pay, but for your shot to win $1,000, you definitely should pay up. You pick 58 props for Super Bowl 58, and you got a shot of winning $1,000. Go enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/SB58 or use the link in the SGPN app to get going. We're giving you some good numbers right now. You could probably toss those in there as well. So 58 props for Super Bowl 58. Win yourself $1,000. Ready, set, go do it. Let's talk about KUTT. KUTT is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is new, and it's a better way to bet. Bet directly against your friends or other users on not just sports, but politics, pop culture, other events with verifiable outcomes. It's tons of fun. Got social features that give it the feel of a betting social network, and KUTT also offers the lowest VIG and fully customizable odds, which means you can create your own bets. KUTT handles the payment side of things, too, so you never have to chase anyone down for money. There's social features, group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and so much more. Last but not least, rewards. Get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. KUTT also allows you to list almost any kind of bet, so it's perfect for getting action in on those fun Super Bowl prop bets. KUTT is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com, that's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Buying tickets sucks. Flat out, 100%, end of story. But that's all right, because all of that stress and all of that anxiety over buying tickets last minute, wondering if they're going to come in the mail for you, whether or not you're going to get a good seat, all that has gone away thanks to Gametime. Gametime is not only going to take away all of the stress of buying tickets last minute by giving you the best prices on all those last minute tickets, but they're also going to give you the Gametime guarantee that all those tickets that you buy are going to be authentic and on time, delivered straight to your phone. No waiting by the mailbox to make sure that those things come to you so you never miss it. And if you're scared about what kind of seat you're going to get a picture right from the seat that you're about to sit in. They're going to give you a picture so you can know exactly what you're looking at as you are enjoying the concert or comedy event or whatever it is that you just bought tickets for. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, Cody, where are we going next with our underdog picks?
Next up, we're going over to Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce. Got to get in on him, of course. I hate how popular it is for everyone, but this dude just dominates, and he's going to be so freaking hard to stop. I think he's going to get his in this game. Underdog has him at 74.5 receiving yards. Of course, I'm going to take the higher on this. You go back and you look at the first Super Bowl they played in, the 49ers did hold him to 43 yards, so that is notable. But since then, in the game they lost to the Buccaneers, 133 yards. So, Rod, if you think they're going to lose this game, maybe Kelce still gets his. Last year against the Eagles, 81. So he's 2 for 3 on hitting this in the Super Bowls they've played in here recently. Go back to the AFC Championship game. 11 targets, 11 catches, 116 yards. He is tough to stop. He's going to get his. And that Baltimore defense, not something to sneeze at, right? They were a tough defense. Kelce still tore them apart because he's one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. We all know this. You go back to the other playoff games, 75 against Buffalo, 71 against Miami. Earlier this season, 179 yards against the Chargers, 124 yards against Denver earlier in the season. Kelce can get it done. And he's really good at having the big plays. He doesn't necessarily have to have a ton of catches, although I think he will have a ton of catches as well. But he gets it done. Again, you get to these big games and you've got these big game players. We know Patrick Mahomes is that guy. We know Travis Kelce is that guy. The spotlight's on him even more. Taylor's going to be up there in the box watching him. He wants to show off. He wants to do the hard hands for all the Swifties at the Super Bowl. We know the whole deal, right? He's going to show up. They're going to hyper target him. He's going to get his. And I think that he'll go over this number. I think it's 74.5. It's just not high enough. I don't know that you can set it high enough because I think he's going to go off and get his, at least get to 80 yards. I wouldn't be shocked to see a 120, 140 game out of Kelce. I think that he's going to be the main player in this when it comes to the Chiefs receiving game. So give me Travis Kelce higher than 74.5 yards.
And honestly, outside of Rashee Rice, this has got to be Travis Kelce's game. When it gets the lights get the brightest, that's when the stars have to shine. And that's when Travis Kelce has to do what Travis Kelce does. There's just no way to bet anything against him or to take any of the lower thans because he's so. The thing about Travis Kelce is if you take lower than, you're really just taking matters into your own hand or your life in your own hands because that dude can blow up at any time, right? So I'd rather be wrong, assuming that he's going to do better than the number, than be wrong and have him have a quiet game. That's fine. If he has a quiet game, then that's on me. But the potential is always there for Travis Kelce to have a big game.
Yeah, and like Steven says in the chat, if you think San Francisco wins, you have to go over on Mahomes passing. You have to go over on Kelce receptions because if the Chiefs get down, I think the Chiefs do want to run the game and try to control it. But if this turns into any type of shootout or they get down, it is going to be Mahomes to Kelce, and he'll just throw him the ball over the middle, double coverage every time. It doesn't matter. 25 catches later, he'll hit this number, and you'll be fine. So I think, and even and I think that's the route for them to win too, is for Kelce to be big. So I think you're pretty safe either way. So yeah, I like playing the over there.
Me too. All right, here comes Steven's comment. Mitchell's rushing is at 3.5. CMC has to get a breather, or Mitchell as a setup man before CMC takes it the rest of the way. My next underdog pick is Elijah Mitchell, but his line or his number on Underdog is 4.5 yards rushing. So a yard more than that, but I concur with all of your logic, Steven. I believe that Elijah Mitchell does need to get in there. I know they're going to give Christian McCaffrey his play. The entire world knows that Christian McCaffrey is going to get all of the touches that he's regularly going to get, and then some. But he does have to come off the field every once in a while. He doesn't do it very often, but he'll do it enough. Last week against the Lions, Elijah Mitchell, 4 carries for 7 yards. But look, in spot work too, in relief of Christian McCaffrey, right? Elijah Mitchell, 14 for 52 against the Rams, 17 for 80 against the Commanders. And even when he's not necessarily in there as a lead back, 3 for 13 against the Eagles, 7 for 39 against the Seahawks, 4 for 24 against Tampa, 8 for 23. Look, just to sum it up, and his average yards per carry so far this season, 3.7 yards per carry during the regular season, which means all he needs to do is carry the ball twice, and he's got this. If he hits his average, all he's got, and even if he doesn't hit his average, look, all he's got to get is 3 yards and 3 yards, or 2.5 and 2.5, and hit this mark. So 2 poor carries for Elijah Mitchell will still get him higher than this number. So for me, this is going to be all hands on deck, right? All hands on deck. And I agree with you, Steven. 3.5 is flat out disrespectful, and that's fine. We'll take advantage of that. That's where we get to take a sharp look at the books because, or even on Underdog and kind of grab that because Elijah Mitchell should get 2 good carries, and 2 good carries for him means about 8 yards. So give me the higher than 4.5 yards for Elijah Mitchell.
I don't understand how it's so low. I know Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lot of work, but he's going to need a breather, especially if he rips a long one, right? You're going to take him out for a minute. You're going to throw Mitchell in there for a play, run it up the middle, and then bring CMC back in. That happens twice, and you get to this number. CMC is a fragile guy in the past. I don't want to wish anything to happen, but Mitchell's there if he needs to be there. So I just, when I saw this in the doc, I had to go double check and make sure you didn't have a typo, and it wasn't supposed to be like 14.5. I'm like, what? And no, it's crazy. It's this low. So this is another one that I think is a really good one to highlight, and I'm glad you did so.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is the deepest run that McCaffrey's ever made as a pro, right? I mean, he didn't get to the Super Bowl with the Panthers.
They're the Panthers,
so yeah. Well, I mean, the Panthers did make.
I guess they did get to a Super Bowl.
But did he actually make it with them?
I don't think he was on the team yet. That was he's at 3.5 on Underdog, Rod.
Oh, they moved it. Oh, snag.
I'm seeing 3.5. So we're gonna change the official play to
good. Because when I grabbed it, it was 4.5. So
you moved the line the other way. That's weird.
I did. Look at that. I love it.
3.5 for Mitchell.
Oh, then definitely take it. Definitely take it.
Also, sorry, Nick. Don't you put that evil on my team. He says, don't say anything. I didn't say he was gonna get hurt. I would never say that. I just said he's done so in the past. That's it.
Well,
just stating the facts. That's what we do here.
Yes, that is what we do here. And what we also do here is tell you about our fun sponsors, just like Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets' revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. You're going to get hit rates broken down by expected probability and for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, Cody, where are we going next for our next underdog pick?
If I could figure out how to do this right, I would have been a lot smoother. But I did want to tell you about the Daytona 500 contest as well. We're running that, of course, for next week's Daytona 500. Super simple. All you got to do, Rod, pick the winner. That is basically it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on the form. It's in our pinned tweet. It's in our pinned Facebook post, both at NASCAR Gambling for Twitter and the Facebook. You can find it there. We can drop it to you in the Discord if you're looking for it as well. Again, all you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, pick the winner, put your name in there so we can contact you. When you win, $100 and a $100 SGPN merch store gift card to the contest winner. I'm so excited about this.
That's going to be fun. I mean, again, it's anything to do with the Daytona 500. It's always fun. And I mean, I know we never really get a chance to catch our breath after Daytona because that's when the season starts. This is not like the Super Bowl where it ends. But we definitely don't have to have time to catch our breath because we go straight to Atlanta right after that. That's another super speedway event. So
yes, let's go. Corey LaJoie starts the season off with back-to-back wins. My goodness, it's going to be beautiful.
I love it. All right, Cody, what's next?
Next up for me, Rod, Underdog has these spicy plays. I love them. This one gets you 2.5 multiplier. MVS is another guy that I'm looking at to show up big in this game. You can get his rushing and receiving higher than 39.5. I think this is a pretty solid number, right? It's kind of like if you're laddering his number up, obviously. That's why you're getting the 2.5, which I like. I think MVS is going to go off. Go back to the AFC Championship game. He had 38 yards, so just underneath of this. But you go back against the Bills the week before, 62 yards. Rod, in the regular season, he averaged 15 yards per catch. We talked about this yesterday when we gave out the props. He can go big plays, right? Big plays are his thing. He can hit this in one play. I think it's nice that they put the rushing part on there. Doesn't usually get a lot of rushes, but they're tossing it in there just in case. Sure, he could go for a jet sweep for negative yards, but the few times he has rushed, hasn't. And I think that, they could easily run a play that's in the backfield. He takes off, gets 40 yards there. You don't have to worry about, oh shit, it was on the ground, not through the air, because you're getting both covered here. So I think that's a great thing. You go back to last year's Super Bowl. He didn't have any catches, only one target in the game. And so I think that could play positive into his favor, though, because maybe they don't game plan as much. Like, they didn't use him last year. I think he's going to kind of be that sneaky guy. I think Kelsey's going to get the attention. I think Rashee Rice, and we've seen the rookies kind of make some mistakes for some of these teams, right? Flowers maybe cost his team a chance. Gibbs maybe cost his team a chance. Can you really trust the rookies in these spots? You go back to the AFC Championship game last season, 6 catches, 116 yards. I think we could see that type of performance from MVS this weekend. And then the last time they played the San Francisco 49ers in an ass whooping last season, 3 catches, Rod, was all he had, 111 yards. Absolutely destroyed the 49ers when they played last season. So MVS, it's that spicy multiplier of 2.5 rushing and receiving yards, higher than 39.5. Love MVS. I've been building, of course, DK lineups all week. Got him in a couple of captain spots, trying to take down a big one. So I think he could be a big difference maker in this game.
And honestly, they have to get, look, I said it earlier. I was like, they only have Kelsey, and it's true, but they have to get other people involved. And MVS is one of those guys that has been, well, when he came from Green Bay, everyone was like, oh yeah, that's a good get for Kansas City. They're going to make him so much better. And then it just sort of, it's way more miss than hit for MVS. And so, but when he hits, like you said, he hits big.
Yeah, it could be like last Super Bowl where he gets one target, he doesn't catch it, and he doesn't get any yards. Or he gets 3 catches and goes for 111 yards. It is that big of a swing, but I think that's why, kind of getting a bigger number on him. Like, if you're going to take a number on him, why not have the multiplied number that's bigger? Because he's either not getting anything or he's getting a lot, is most likely. Of course, last week he got the 38, so it was kind of in the middle. But more than not, he's going to go off when he goes off. He had a big NFC Championship game with Green Bay a couple of years ago when they lost to Tampa Bay when Brady made it to that final Super Bowl. I think it was like 100. I don't have that one written down, but I think it was like 138 yards that day. It was a big day. He can show up in these big games. Steven says hopefully he has a handler keeping him away from the butter bucket. It worked last game. And, that's the thing, too. You can't trust McCole Hardman, I don't think. Look at what he almost cost this team huge in the playoffs, right? I don't think you can trust him. I don't think you can go to him. McKinnon isn't going to play now, it doesn't look like, right? So that takes away a big receiving weapon. Again, Kelsey's still going to get his. Rice, I think, will get some because he's very talented, but you can't trust. He's a rookie. That's gotta be playing in the back of your mind, right? And that's got to be there. I think you scheme up a veteran like this that has had big games in the past. He's a boom or bust player. You get one boom play. It could take one pass, boom, 50, 60 yards later, and you're good with him. So yeah, I love this for MVS. It's the spicy play too, 2.5 multiplier, which is always really nice when you get that in these underdog lineups. And the numbers 39.5 for the rushing and receiving.
Speaking of spicy plays, I've got a spicy one too. Speaking of dialing up veterans, how about Juice? Kyle Juszczyk. His receptions are set at 1.5. So he only needs to catch 2 passes in this. This is also a spicy play that gets you 2.25 on the multiplier. Look, for Kyle Juszczyk, this is not a slam dunk by any stretch of the imagination. He got 2 passes last week, which was great, right? Or not last week, but in the last game against the Lions, he caught 2 passes. But he's actually done this in 3 of his last 4 outings, right? 2 against the Lions, 3 against the Commanders. He did have only 1 catch against the Ravens, but he did have 2 targets. Caught both of his targets against the Cardinals. He's gone 2 for 3 against the Jaguars. He caught all 4 of his targets against the Cowboys. It's a very, very sparse use in the passing game for Juszczyk. He's usually in there to block. He's usually in there to get a few carries here and there. But Kyle Shanahan needs to dig deep in his bag of tricks. This Kansas City Chiefs team is not going to be easy. This defense is so much more improved than the last time they faced him, and even the last time they faced him in the Super Bowl. This is a much better Kansas City defense, and there's no way that they're just going to go in there and steamroll them. And as good as Brock Purdy's been playing this year, he's definitely suspect, and he's definitely prone to have a few of those, I don't want to say rookie mistakes because he's not a rookie, but a few of those inexperienced mistakes. And the best way to combat against that is to give him a couple of screen passes to Juszczyk, right? Or give him the opportunity to have Juszczyk as an outlet, right? Just to keep him up there around the line of scrimmage, just in case everything goes haywire and he needs to find some place to go with the ball, and Juszczyk is right there. Do that a couple of times. You've already got this part of your underdog picks cooking. So it is not going to take much. That's why these low numbers, sometimes you have to look at where these low numbers lie, right? Like the Elijah Mitchell one we just found out, that's now 3.5, right? This is 1.5. These ones, the problem, and it's funny because the lower the number, you figure the higher the probability that it's going to happen. But the lower the number, in most cases, it means that they don't get a lot of play. But also, if you take a chance on them and it happens, then you're that much more better. So I love that Juszczyk higher than 1.5 receptions. It's a spicy play, which means there's only one way you can go on it. You can't pick lower. You got to pick higher. Right, Cape in the chat. Hi, fellas. What's up? So
yeah, I love the Juszczyk play. Of course, he was in my DGen parlay yesterday. David Reagan, top 5 in the Daytona 500. Kyle Juszczyk to get the first touchdown of the game. Hopefully it'll be receiving to help you hit this number. So I do love that. Just so big on Juszczyk. And to your point of, finding these guys with the lower numbers, like everybody's going to be looking at CMC. Everybody's going to be looking at Kelsey. That's why Elijah Mitchell's sitting there at 3.5. That's why Juszczyk is sitting there at 1.5 catch, because not as many people are paying attention to that. Not as many people are clicking on that, and they're not the bigger names, but still going to get their works. Those are veteran guys. Shanahan knows he can trust them. If he get in a situation late where the 49ers are down, they need to get some work underneath. You get some passes out to Juszczyk there. I think that's definitely a possibility. Speaking of Kyle Juszczyk, I also have a play on Kyle Juszczyk, and it's kind of in with yours. I like this one even more though, although yours has the multiplier, which is nice. But you can get as higher than for rushing and receiving yards at 5.5. Criminally low, Rod. Look, this one is, if you can find any way you want to get into this, right? If the Niners are up late, they just need to pound the ball right down the middle, hand it off to Juszczyk. He's going to get you a couple yards right up the middle. If they're down and they need to get some underneath plays, like I just mentioned, you throw it to Juszczyk is going to get some usage in here. You go back to the Super Bowl where they played against each other a couple of years ago. 39 receiving yards and a touchdown from Kyle Juszczyk. And he set at 5.5 on Underdog. He almost, 8 times this in the previous Super Bowl. So that's huge. He hit this number in 6 games this season. That's a pretty good size for just a fullback, right? I mean, he's just a fullback, but he is more than that. He's a guy that they can trust, been on the team a long time. He's out there doing the dirty work. I mean, he's a great blocker. I love everything about Juszczyk this weekend, and I'm getting in on him pretty much any way I can find. So I love it. 2 of the 3 playoff games they played last season, he hit this number. The one he didn't was the NFC Championship game. Purdy gets hurt early. Everything's just a disaster, a shit show. Hard to count that, but the other 2 games, he did hit this. Love Juszczyk. I love your receptions one. Get the spicy. Maybe you can correlate this as well over the higher than 5.5 rushing and receiving. And again, then it covers you both ways. Whether he runs the ball, whether he catches the ball, he's going to get to 5.5 receptions or 5.5 yards just in total. So love Kyle Juszczyk for that this weekend.
As do I. All right, my last one, I'm going to go defensive. I would be remiss if I did not go defensive or kicker for that matter. And in fact, if you want to find some of my defensive and kicker picks, then you can go to my Twitter page where I've got the link in the bio. I've actually got some defense and kicker coverage over on that. Thanks to Sports.
I have a defensive article coming out as well for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. That'll be out on Friday, I think. the 9th.
Beautiful.
Whatever day the 9th is, it'll be out that day.
All right, so mine is I'm going to focus on Dre Greenlaw. His total tackle total is set at 8. I'm going to take the higher then on that one. It hasn't happened in the last 2 playoff games. He only had 7 and 8 in the last 2 playoff games. But again, for Dre Greenlaw, this is the Super Bowl, right? I mean, he did it twice to close out the regular season for the games that he played. He got 10 tackles against the Commanders, 12 tackles against Baltimore. Pacheco's going to run this thing, right? They're actually more of a running team now than they are a complete passing team. Pacheco's given them the ability to run the ball. Plus, they love to run screens, death by screens by Kansas City standards. So Dre Greenlaw is going to be around the line of scrimmage a lot. That ball is going to be around the line of scrimmage a lot. Even if Patrick Mahomes decides to take off, that'll be it. If Travis Kelce gets in the middle of the field, right, Greenlaw is probably going to be right there around that as well. So I think the path for Greenlaw to get to at least 9 total tackles in this game is there. I mean, I see this defense getting a lot of work because, again, this is a good Kansas City Chiefs team. This isn't a pushover. They're in the Super Bowl for a reason, right? It's not, I'm not going to say that the Niners are going to go in there and steamroll them. It's just, this is going to be a true test. And I think all of the stars, not just on the offense, but on the defense, are going to have to step up, obviously. That's such a cliche thing. Everybody's going to have to step up. Well, they are. But there are certain players that step up more than others, and Dre Greenlaw is one of those. Kinlaw is one of those, right? Bosa and all those guys on the line. They're all ones that have to step up. Or Ward, all the secondary is going to have to step up. So, I mean, for Greenlaw, obviously he's the heart and soul of this defense as well, this linebacking core. And I think he's going to have a huge game if the Niners hope to stay close enough and eventually come away with the win on this. He's going to have to be a big part of that. So 9 total tackles for Greenlaw. I will definitely take that. So give me higher than the 8 tackles and assists if you're looking for that. That's 8 tackles and assist for Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, I love it. You got no arguments from me on that one. I was trying to, well,
while you look, let me bring this one up too, where okay. I keep saying everyone likes Debo. I think Ayuk goes off. Right? I agree with you on that one because for Ayuk is it's funny because Debo, in everybody's mind's eye, is the wide receiver 1 on this team, right? He's the flash, he's the big name, he's the guy that got signed the big contract, and rightfully so. He's earned that right to be thought of as the number 1 receiver. But Ayuk just does. He does it without a whole lot of acclamation. He does it without a whole lot of fanfare. He just does it. He goes out there and he gets to work. And so I think that's why Purdy and Ayuk have that when Purdy's in trouble, he's looking down the field for number 11, right? He's trying to figure out where 11 is because more often than not, he's down the field and he's got to find himself a spot in the open secondary. So yeah, I like that. And then also, he says,
just real quick on the Ayuk thing too. I think that's a great call, similar to MVS, right? Where the other guys Ayuk's going to get some attention, but you have to have so much attention paid to Samuel, to Kittle, to CMC. Ayuk is going to get his, so I like that, right?
Indeed, and Stephen Williams chiming in as well. Other low numbers worth a look. Noah Gray, higher than 1.5 receptions. Yes, please.
Oh,
that dude catches passes in a weird way.
Love some Noah Gray stuff. He's definitely. I haven't looked into first touchdown numbers completely yet. Noah Gray definitely on the short list because he's a guy I'm going to be looking at for that.
He just pops up out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, like nothing happens. And then, there's a pass to Noah Gray. You're like, oh, he was on the field. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And then Steven also says, Juszczyk over a half reception and Gray 1.5 put together plus 196. Oof, like it. I love it. Spicy. It's good.
Beautiful.
Yes.
All right. Let's go over our underdog picks for you for the Super Bowl. Cody started you out with Patrick Mahomes higher than 26.5 rushing yards. I said Brock Purdy would have more than 3 rushing attempts, so take the higher on that. Cody said Travis Kelce would have higher than 74.5 receiving yards. I said Elijah Mitchell would have higher than now 3.5 rushing yards. That's even better for us. Cody said MVS with that spicy 2.5 multiplier will have higher than 39.5 receiving and rushing yards. I said Kyle Juszczyk would have higher than 1.5 receptions for my own spicy play. Cody said that Juice would go higher than 5.5 rushing and receiving yards on at least those 2 receptions. And then I finish it out with Dre Greenlaw, higher than 8 total tackles. So that's our wrap up for the Underdogs plays on Super Bowl, man. I just want this game to hurry up and get here. I'm tired of the buildup.
I know I'm not even a fan of either team, and I'm like, this week is just going by so slow because the big game's coming. It's almost here. Speaking of Underdog as well too, I just got a notification. Of course, our phones are always listening to us. They know we're talking about them. So, but yeah, they've got James Harden over 0.5 or higher than 0.5 points special tonight. They do that all the time where they've got, very, almost free squares, right? He still has to score a point, so hopefully he doesn't get hurt in the first 30 seconds. But as soon as he scores a point, you hit it, kind of a free square. They run promotions like that all the time. Underdog really is great. I've already done multiple best ball drafts for 2024. I've got a slow one going on right now. I just picked recently. So, oh man. And then that's the football side of things. All the NASCAR, all the F1, it's all in there. It's absolutely beautiful. And yes, as Rye says, wants the game to be over because that means NASCAR season is officially here. I agree with that. Next week also probably going to be a slow week because looking forward to Daytona, but we do have 2 races leading up to it, plus the ARCA race, which the day we can add an ARCA episode to this when we get odds, readily available. 50 cars entered for the 40-car field in the ARCA race. That is going to be exciting to watch how that plays out. And maybe in the near future, we can get the major books to add ARCA odds and cover that as well.
Hey, and if you also need to scratch an itch too, in a couple of weeks, Formula E will be taking the track again. That's like they've got a long way to go, but we're going to throw some Formula E into the Formula 1 episodes and some Indy into that as well. So expanded coverage there as well. Just so much going on.
So much. It's beautiful. I love it. Best time of year. It's great. Let's go hit some Underdog plays this week.
Let's go hit some Underdog plays this week. All right, well, let's send everybody off to start filling out their Underdog picks sheets, and we'll be back tomorrow with some more content for you as well. Probably big game related too. I mean, it's the only thing going on this week, so we'll have some fun with it. But
it's maybe some championship picks. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Fun Friday. Get your questions cooked up for us.
Indeed.
Fun Friday on a Thursday, but whatever.
We'll just give everybody Friday off to get ready for the Super Bowl. How's that? Works?
Tell your bosses we said you can have the day off. It's fine.
You know what's great is that I actually I'm not hosting this year, so I get to enjoy and pay attention to the game and not worry about a lot of stuff. So I'm good to go there.
There you go. Nice.
Beautiful. All right, Cody. Well, as we head out the door, let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. Find all my work over there. Make sure you head over to NASCAR Gambling at NASCAR Gambling on the X. I've got the link in there for the Daytona 500 contest. That's in the pinned tweets. Hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. Get, we had Steven and Rye and Nick, all these people in the chat while we were live here. So, make sure you're doing that. Click the bell so you know when we go live.
Yes, sir. And, of course, just follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on. Like I said, I got some stuff for the Super Bowl up there as well, some WrestleMania stuff. Keep on that AFL podcast going on. You want to keep up with my crazy life, Twitter's the best place to do it, at RJ Villagomez. So we will see you tomorrow with our show again. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.